We've had a lot of consultation and done work on air filtration. There are air filtration systems that can take COVID out of the air. There then winds up a series of questions, what filters work on what HVAC systems. But the filters are rated, the HVAC systems are rated by what they call a MERV rating. So what we're saying is the best filter we would like to see installed is what's called a MERV 13. It's goes to the density of the filter and what it can actually filter out. MERV 13 filters out the COVID virus. Some systems can't take MERV 13, so it's either 13, 12, or 11. But one of those three filters, and then we have ventilation protocols, and the mall reopening date is July 10th. On the COVID transmission, following the facts are changing as they learn more about this virus. There's less concern about surface area transmission, more data that it is primarily an airborne transmission. That then raises the question of what can we do with air filtration technology? You hear this is an air-conditioned building. It's bringing air up into the HVAC system, it then runs through the HVAC system and gets recirculated. What kind of filtration can you have on the HVAC system that may be capable of catching the virus as it's attached to the droplets? There are filters that systems install. HEPA filters are one of them, and then a series of filters that are rated by the minimum efficiency reporting value, MERV value. And the most dense filters can actually filter out the virus, which is remarkable and interesting. Nothing is simple with this virus. It depends on the air conditioning system you have, whether or not it can take one of these higher filters and still operate. And different systems take different filters, and we're working through that now. We're spending time on it because I think there's a real possibility that we could actually have a positive contribution here. And different HVAC systems have different capacities, but we're working through this now. Because if there is a way to filter the air, and there's a way to get COVID out of the air, then we want to do that. And if we can do that without an exorbitant expense for existing HVAC systems, it's something we have to look at. So we're in the midst of that now, and as soon as we know something, we will make it public. There are air filtration devices, air filters, that can actually help with the COVID virus. And NASA has studied these. There are HEPA filters, which are high-efficiency particulate air filters, that can actually filter out the COVID virus. The COVID virus is 0.1 microns. There are HEPA filters that can filter out 0.01. So any malls that will open in New York, large malls, we will make it mandatory that they have air filtration systems that can filter out the COVID virus. For many of these systems, it depends on what filter you install, called the MERV rating of the filter. But they have different filters that filter out different size particles. And they have filters that can actually filter out and catch the COVID virus. For large mall reopenings, which we haven't done yet, but we're going to make this mandatory. I would recommend, the state recommends, for all businesses and offices, they explore the potential for their air conditioning, air filtration system, adding a filter that can filter out the COVID virus. We have been looking at this issue because you look around the country and you're seeing malls, you're seeing air conditioning systems, indoor spaces that have been problematic. And we think this offers promise.
Gyms, theaters, malls, we are still looking at the science and the data. There has been information that those situations have created issues in other states. If we have that information, we don't want to then go ahead until we know what we're doing, right? This is a road that no one has traveled on before. Logic suggests if you see a problem in other states that you explore it before you move forward in your state. And that's what we're doing with gyms, theater, and malls. Our Department of Health is trying to determine if there is any filtration system for an air conditioning system that can successfully remove the virus from air circulation. Is there a filter that can be added to an air conditioning system that we know will filter out the virus? The issue they're looking at is, are these air conditioning systems recirculating the virus? And you're not getting a high percentage of outside air. The air conditioning system is recirculating and could be recirculating the virus. So that's the issue that we're exploring on that. And if anybody knows of a filter that successfully filters out the coronavirus that we can add to an air conditioning system, that would be.
So the question is, I've been to the Danbury Fair Mall in Connecticut a number of times since they opened up a while back. But I wonder if that's part of that which you've mentioned, that is, in as far as seeing first how their metrics work out in that regard. Would such outside metrics help in determining when we go beyond the 50% capacity guidelines here in New York? I mean, as long as nobody gets cocky?
Yes. Yes. And those are the things we're looking at. The reason the malls on the malls, movie theaters, gyms, these states that have stayed open, they're making findings, or the businesses themselves are making findings in some of these areas, and so we incorporate that data. These interior spaces with large numbers of people that have recirculating air conditioning systems pose an issue. And I've spoken to a number of engineers about it. You get a movie theater, you get a mall, you have a large number of people, so there's a possibility that you have the virus in the air because you have a large number of people. The air conditioning system recirculates the air. When most air conditioning systems, just about all air conditioning systems, filter the air, the filters that they use have different densities. And some filters are better at taking out fine particulate matter than other filters. That's always been the case. Some filters claim they filter viruses out of the air. This is a different virus, as we've all learned, and the question is, do the filters take out can they filter out the coronavirus? So the Department of Health is working on that, and Robert Mahica, budget director, has been talking to a number of engineer firms and filter companies. If we could find, and Rob is doing this personally, I asked him to, Rob is looking to see if we could find filters that we knew with a degree of certainty could actually take the filter out the COVID virus. That could really be helpful, not just to New York, but across the board. Apparently, what Rob has found out so far is that requires a density of a filter that is actually hard for an air conditioning system to operate because it restricts the airflow to such an extent. But I'm not an engineer, and I've exhausted everything I know about air filters. But So those are the kinds of issues we're talking through now.